Good morning, gang. Happy Tuesday morning. So, is this a case of here we go again? We are, we all know the stories on the WHO and Biden saying we're going to follow their guidelines and whatever this would be. He's not signing over our sovereignty or anything like that. Okay, that's people making mountains out of molehills. But agreeing to sign over the decision making, I guess, if you will, in pandemics. Okay. What would that lead you to believe? Why would that be so important that governments around the world are going, oh my God, we need somebody who knows more than we do? Which, in this case, in Biden's case at least, I would give him credit for that because anybody knows more than Joe on any subject that you can talk about. Okay. Not that the WHO is any sort of authority because, hell, the people that running it aren't even doctors. But that's beside the point. Okay. Why would they all be doing this? Could they be expecting another pandemic? Probably. Okay. That's what's going on. And why would they expect one? Oh, I don't know. Could it be something else came out of a lab in Wuhan? That's a possibility, too. We have all the talk right now of H5N1, the bird flu, the avian flu. Okay. And even the WHO has said, okay, if this isn't a scare tactic, I don't know what it is. Oh, the mortality rate of avian flu is going to be about 56%. Okay. Now remember what our mortality rate was a couple of years ago. Less than one. Okay. And we saw how everybody panicked like crazy. All right. 2/3 of the country, took the happy juice, and, you still have zombies walking around with masks on. I mean, The View finally allowed their audience to unmask yesterday because, that was always so effective. Fauci's under investigation by Congress for what's going on. So just, let's take a look at that. So now let's come up with something even scarier. Let's come up with bird flu. Okay? Now, has it spread to people yet? Where do they come up with this 56%? Oh, I have no clue. It's probably some guy throwing darts and go, oh, I got a 20 and a 20 and a 16. Okay, it's 56%. This is pretty much how they're figuring this stuff out. Now, I'm not saying bird flu by any means is something not to concern yourself with, okay? I mean, it is deadly. There was somebody just earlier this week, where was it, somewhere in Africa or whatever, that died from bird flu. Though it's not the same strain that's going around for us, okay? Again, different strains. We all know what those are at this point. So, things to consider, something like that. What's going on? What are we going to be exposed to is a wrong word, but I mean, not exposed to the virus, but exposed to the lunacy of a bunch of these globalists who want to panic the world into, let's see how many sheep we can get to follow what we want to do this time. All right. So what happens in stuff like this? You get profiteers. Fauci is absolutely a profiteer, right? The World Economic Forum was absolutely a profiteer on all of this sort of stuff. You get some companies that are profiteers, okay? The bunker building business apparently is booming. Nothing against the bunker building business, but I'm not going to put a $250,000 bunker in my backyard for a $200,000 house. Okay, just saying. It's a little ridiculous. You get all the videos that you're seeing now of people putting shipping containers buried in the backyard or whatever it is. Okay, this goes back to the bomb shelter scares of the 1950s and the 1960s, where, oh my God, you've got to have something like this. Try living in a shipping container for a day, a week, being there for a month, you know, good luck. You think you can't handle being around people in your house right now? You want to get some privacy? Yeah, go live in an 8x10 box and see how much privacy you get. But now the big thing is you have these survival communities that are being built. And again, they have their place. I'm not going to say they don't. I ran across an article last night and read some more into it, did some more research this morning when I got up, on a place called Fortitude Ranch. Okay. And for all intents and purposes, it's not a bad idea. They're taking all the things that we do about prepping and kind of putting them together. Being in a remote location, having food, having security, having water, whatever would be, growing, doing everything they can to sustain life. A mag, obviously being in a group like this is a mag. It's not a bad idea. I'm not going to say that. And I'll link it below so you guys can go read up on this one. It's just one. There's a whole bunch of different places. They say, oh, it's about $1,000 a month, or I'm sorry, $1,000 a year per person to get your, as they call it, Spartan accommodations, which is a bed on a sheet of plywood, which may be good. Okay. My only thought of that is, if it's $1,000 a year to get a bed on a sheet of plywood, why the hell aren't we housing immigrants there? If they can do that, why can't the government, right? Just saying. But there was something on their website that was very good. I want to show you this here real quick. This is a chart where they did an assessment. Now, do I agree with the whole thing? No. Okay. But an assessment of different preparedness options that we all have. And it's something that I think we at least need to acknowledge that, okay, let's take a step back into reality and say, this is where I am. This is what the situation is for how good that location is. And then it gives us an idea of what we need to concentrate our preparations on. Okay? So you look at this, if I put it up here, security in the big city, a 2, horrible. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with something like that. Avoiding a virus, food, water in the big cities. Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense to me. That everything is going to be complete chaos in the city. All right. You get to a suburban house. Sure, that's going to get a little bit better, all right, because you still have neighbors that you can shake hands with out the window. But, I'll disagree on the food and the water part here, because in a suburban house, chances are you've got enough place to store stuff to at least keep your food okay. The water, okay, you're probably on city water. A backyard shelter, I'll disagree with this one all the way across. Like I said before, good luck living in a shipping container, or, good luck. Why would you spend $250,000 or whatever it is to put a backyard shelter in your yard when you can go out and spend that kind of money and buy yourself a couple of acres out in the middle of freaking nowhere and build something out there? Okay, that would be a little bit more conducive to survival rather than living in the suburbs with a shipping container buried in your backyard. A rural house, hence where I am. Okay, what they say for security, minimal. Y'all know me in security, all right, and plans that I have and things that I've done and doing and everything like that. It's something I focus on. You look down for electricity, they say 4 for electricity, very poor. I'm taking care of that, okay, with solar and everything that I've talked to you guys about in the last week or so. Fire protection and blast protection. Fire protection for me, I'll absolutely give that. I live out in the forest, okay? That's going to be a little difficult, okay? And I live in a log cabin, so, it's a wood house, surrounded by trees. Fire protection, I'm screwed. How many times have you heard me say, if the mountain goes up on fire, the Chinese come over the hill, right? I know that's a weakness for me. Blast protection. Okay, I don't really think that Sharps Chapel, Tennessee is on China's or Russia's priority list of somewhere to detonate anything, right? If you want to kill 550 people or whatever the hell live here on the peninsula, okay, go for it. Radiation shielding, okay, again, that's something that would have to be case by case. Same thing, if there's no blast for me, all right, fine. Affordability, sure, it's a lot more affordable to live here than it is to live in the city. Right? And then you look on the last side of what they're talking about, those are the different communities that you can get into, all right? And are they better off than some? Sure, all right. Are they a little overly optimistic on some of their numbers here? Yeah, okay. Again, this is kind of a sales piece, I think it would be for this, all right? But looking at something like this could at least give you an idea of what you want to focus on when you get to next level, okay? When you go, okay, I've got a year, preferably 2, in food stored. I've got my water taken care of, okay? Now, let's go down this list and see where I am. If I'm in a suburban home, okay, how's my security? Because on average, that's weak. How's my electricity? Because on average, that's poor, or whatever it would be. This can give you some ideas for maybe what you need to focus on, because one of the most common questions I get is, what do I do next? And I've said many times, having a plan is the most important thing that we need to do. What are you going to do when the world turns upside down? That's not the time to go, honey, what do you think about if we do this? That's the time to put plan in action. It's like, okay, an EMP hit. Okay, the banks just closed. Okay, the Chinese just declared war. What do we need to do? Honey, you got A, B, and C. I got D, E, and F, and let's enact a plan, period. Okay, that's the deal to do. This is a decent little thing to open your eyes and go, okay, I need to work on this because this can be helpful. Just something to take a look at, maybe figure it out for yourself. Because again, I can't tell you what to do in your situation, nor can anybody else. Anybody that pretends to is snowballing you, all right? Your situation is your situation. My situation's my situation. We all got to figure it out the way it works for us. But this will give you a good idea of what experts have said are strengths and weaknesses of any given scenario in which you may live in. Take a look at it and maybe divert your focus from something that you were working on to something that seems to be a little bit more important. Some you're not going to be able to take care of. Fire protection for me, I'm not going to cut down the forest. Okay, I don't have any. That's a risk I've got to take. No matter where you are, there's going to be a risk. Okay, but if I can, serenity prayer, take care of the things that you have control over. That whole thing up here. Work on the things that you can control and make those as strong as possible. This may give you an idea of maybe some of the weak spots that you have that you might want to take a second look at. Have a good one. Pinball out.